Finally, tune into a broadcasting channel and keep yourself updated on what's happening and what to do next. But remember, prevention is the best solution. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM Busan 영어방송. The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
아직 어렵게 느껴지는 영어. 아이들 영어는 어떻게 챙기시나요? 부산 영어방송이 준비한 어린이 영어 콘텐츠 세상. BEFM 키즈 영상 채널이 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 샘 해밍턴과 윌 벤저스 그리고 모모랜드 낸시가 함께하는 BEFM 키즈에서 영어로 듣는 부산 설화와 전래동화, 재밌는 파닉스 영어, 신나는 K-팝 영어까지 만나보세요. 우리 아이의 영어 실력과 창의력을 쑥쑥 키워줄 특별한 어린이 영어 채널 BEFM 키즈가 여러분을 기다립니다. 지금 바로 BEFM 키즈를 검색하고 구독해주세요.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Many news stories dominated the weekend. We have, of course, the Middle East war, what's going on there. We had the BTS comeback concert as well. But, of course, all of this was overshadowed by that massive factory fire in Daejeon. 14 people have reportedly been killed in a fire that broke out on Friday at an auto parts plant in Daejeon. Dozens others injured, including 2 firefighters. And now that all the missing persons have been accounted for, the authorities are going to have to step up to assess what exactly led to such a devastating fire and tragedy. Police have formed a 130-member investigation team and will conduct joint forensic examinations with the fire authorities as well as the National Forensic Service. First and foremost, though, of course, our thoughts, our deepest condolences go out to the family members affected by this tragedy. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, March 23rd on BEFM 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you all had a restful weekend and are ready to kick off our Monday morning together. And we will be covering details of that fire later on. So in the meantime, let's talk about the fact that we have entered the 4th week of this war between the U.S., Israel versus Iran. South Korea is taking a cautious approach regarding U.S. President Donald Trump's request to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz. And on Friday, an official from Cheongwade said that it is closely communicating with the U.S. and its other major allies and working on multifaceted negotiations. And that South Korea is seeking a combination for the choice that best suits the national interests. The official added that the situation involving the Strait of Hormuz has a direct impact on South Korea's energy supply and, of course, the economy at large. But South Korea over the weekend also announced that it is joining 7 countries, including the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, and Canada, in their joint statement condemning Iran's effective shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz, urging the Islamic Republic to respect international law. So, where do South Koreans stand on this issue, the public? Well, according to a recent Gallup poll, 55% of Korean nationals were against deploying warships to the strait. And this is according to a poll by Korea Gallup over 1,004 South Koreans 18 or older conducted between March 17th and 19th. And here, 55% were against deployment, 30% in favor, and 15% saying they weren't sure or they declined to answer. But the divide was clearer among conservatives, with 45% for deployment and 42% against, which was within the margin of error. For progressives and moderates, those against were in the majority. We're talking 70 and 58% respectively. And this poll has a 95% rate of confidence with a plus or minus 3.1% margin of error and a 13.1% response rate. And you can refer to the National Election Survey Deliberation Committee website for further details on this. All right, so that is, I guess, what the people here in Korea think, respectively, of deploying those warships, and we'll await word to see whether that happens or not. And now it's time for a text topic, something a little brighter, because it's Monday, right? We need a little pick-me-upper. Here we go. If you could get a week of spring break, what would you do? 자, 나에게 봄 방학. I can't even get the words out. I'm so excited. 봄 방학이 주어진다면 하고 싶은 것들은, do you have anything in mind? So you only get 1 week. What would you do during that week? So you can send in your opinions to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM, 부산영어방송, to find our channel. Subscribe, log in, and chat with other waivers from your phone. Pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on Kakao Talk. So it's pretty easy. You got to find us first, BEFM, 부산영어방송. Enter that. You'll see our account, add us as a friend, and then you can send your messages and the ways you can tune into our show, Morning Wave in Busan, on the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. We are streaming live on YouTube right now, so check us out. We're available on our own app, the BFM app and the Papang app. Both are free, easy to download. All right, looking at our Monday morning together, we have Nawan Busan with Jian, Haley with top stories. That's in hour number 1, Waga Tea Time in hour number 2. Vasana's coming in for Profile Check. Jian's joining me again for News in Depth. That's later on in hour number 2. And then we have our special interview. We are going to tackle this thorny issue. President Trump has been publicly pressuring U.S. allies to help secure the Strait of Hormuz. And he name-checked us, right? Definitely in terms of, South Korea and, a few other countries where he named countries urging not just South Korea, but other countries to send warships or military support. So we're going to tackle this with an expert. That's coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with News Overview. It is now 7:06, and this is News Overview. President puts pressure on officials with multiple homes. President Lee Jae-myung said yesterday that he has instructed his office and the cabinet to exclude multi-homeowners from real estate policies as his administration cracks down on housing speculation. Police and labor authorities investigate Daejeon plant fire. Daejeon police and the labor authorities have launched a full investigation into the car parts plant fire that killed 14 people, including the first on-site inspection scheduled for today. President taps BIS official Shin Hyun-song as BOK governor. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday nominated Shin Hyun-song, an official of the Bank for International Settlements known as BIS, as the new governor of the Bank of Korea as current governor Lee Chang-yong's term runs out in April. supplementary budget expected to be passed on April 10th. The ruling Democratic Party, DP, said yesterday it plans to pass a supplementary budget bill at a parliamentary plenary session next month in an attempt to cushion the impact of the Middle East crisis. Iran warns against Trump's threats to attack its energy infrastructure. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, said that Iran will completely shut the Strait of Hormuz if U.S. President Donald Trump proceeds with its threats to target Iranian energy facilities. And this was News Overview. It's time for Down Busan. We have Jian in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Yes. I hope you had an okay weekend.
Yes, thank you.
Good. Well, we want to know from you if you had spring break, which, by the way, I thoroughly miss on days like this, on a Monday. But if you had spring break, what would you do?
It's just for a week, right?
Yes, just 1 week.
1 week. I honestly didn't expect it to be this busy. But if I can have a week break, I would love to visit so many places here in Busan because I've been thinking about trying so many things, but I haven't got a chance yet. Like visiting places like from tourist places like Kamcheon Culture Village or Dadepoe, but also go surfing, hiking.
There are so many things
to do here in Busan, but I haven't got a chance yet.
Yes, so little time, so maybe, hopefully, at least in our minds, fantasy-wise, we can go on break,
exactly,
right?
yes.
In little snippets. Well, we're going to dive into our local segment here. We're going to start with an update from Kimhae International Airport. So there's a change affecting international arrivals. So what's happening?
That's right. Kimhae Airport's international arrivals will return to normal starting this Wednesday, March 25th, as Terminal A resumes full operations, which had been partially closed during early morning hours.
Yes. So what was the issue and what led to the normalization now?
The issue dates back to late last year when a second departure hall opened and staff members were reassigned, forcing Terminal A to shut down from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., which is actually one of the busiest times of the day. But with additional immigration officers brought in earlier than planned, including 7 staff members originally scheduled for July, the arrivals hall is now set to run as usual again.
So had this been affecting the passengers?
Yes, with Terminal A partially closed, congestion increased significantly in Terminals B and C during peak morning hours. This had raised ongoing concerns about overcrowding, especially as international passenger numbers have surged past 10 million last year.
Yes, and so for travelers, what can they expect in terms of changes going forward?
From March 25th, Terminals A and B will operate throughout regular airport hours, while Terminal C will run during peak times in the morning and afternoon. Officials expect this adjustment to ease congestion and improve overall passenger flow.
Oh, and it's always obviously all about the passengers and inconveniences. We don't want any of those. So thank you for going over this. Let's move on. So kind of related to our first story, we talked about airports or Kimhae Airport. We're going to talk about airlines, which are starting to feel the impact of rising fuel prices and, of course, the exchange rate. So what's happening?
Some low-cost carriers are cutting back on international routes due to high oil prices linked to the Middle East conflict. Air-Busan, for example, announced that it will suspend several international routes in April, and another carrier, Aerokeay, has also outlined plans to reduce operations between April and June.
Right. So let's get into specifics of what's behind these cuts.
Officially, airlines call it a change in business plans. But in reality, rising fuel costs and a weaker Korean won are the main reasons.
Yes.
Jet fuel can make up about 30 to 35% of an airline cost, and since it's paid in US dollars, a higher exchange rate makes things even more expensive. And on top of that, aircraft leasing and maintenance are also mostly paid in dollars, putting even more strain on airlines.
Yes. So how serious is the situation right now?
It's actually becoming a real concern. Global jet fuel prices have surged sharply in recent weeks, and the Korean won has fallen by more than 71 against the dollar since late February.
Right.
This combination is hitting low-cost carriers especially hard, as they have fewer tools to hedge against the currency and fuel price risks compared to full-service airlines.
Yes. And of course, that is of utmost concern for people who need to travel, right?
Yes.
So, all right, let's move on for now. There is a growing demand for electric vehicles here in Busan. Let's hear the latest.
Busan City is moving to expand its electric vehicle or EV distribution program in response to rapidly rising demand. As of this month, a total of 2,250 applications have been submitted for EVs, which is about 2.7 times higher than the same period last year. Breaking it down, applications for passenger EVs reached 1,832, while electric trucks are accounted for 418.
Yes.
Both figures have more than doubled compared to a year earlier.
Yes, so let's talk about what's driving this surge in demand.
A few factors are behind this. Changes in global oil prices and the fact that EVs have become much more affordable have made them more appealing to buyers. In some areas, demand has been so strong that subsidies have already run out early.
Well, how is the city of Busan planning to respond to this?
Busan will take a flexible approach by adjusting supply allocations by vehicle type to make sure the program runs smoothly. At the same time, the city is expanding financial support to ease the burden on buyers. This includes purchase subsidies as well as the Busan Youth EV Dream program, which offers up to 2 million won in additional support.
I see. Thanks for telling us about this one. And next, let's talk about this, an update on maritime safety.
Yes.
The government is expanding a navigation support system. So what is this about?
The Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries is launching its 8th round of its e-navigation or Badanebi device distribution program starting today on the 23rd. The system is designed to support safer navigation by providing real-time maritime information to vessels. Using a high-speed maritime LTE network, it delivers electronic charts, nearby vessel information, and alerts for potential collisions or groundings, even up to 100 kilometers from the coast.
Oh, so what additional features does this system offer?
In addition to navigation support, the device also provides access to a maritime safety radio service. This includes updates on sea weather conditions as well as safety campaign information, helping crews stay informed while at the sea.
I see. And how's the government supporting this whole rollout?
To reduce the financial burden on ship owners,
Yes.
the government has been offering subsidies since 2019. Under this latest program, up to 50% of the purchase and installation cost will be covered with support capped at 2.5 million won.
So who is eligible and who can apply?
The program is open to both fishing vessels and general ships. Further details, including eligibility and application procedures, are available through the Korea Maritime Transportation Safety Authority website.
All right. Thanks for giving us information on that front. For our final story, a new facility for runners is opening up.
Yes.
What's this one about?
Busan is set to open a dedicated support space for runners in Dadepoe, which is a popular running spot along the Nakdonggang River. The opening ceremony will take place this Saturday on the 28th. The facility is located near Dadepoe Station, where walking and running paths are already well developed along the riverside.
That's right. So what kind of facilities are we talking about?
The space will include changing rooms and storage lockers, along with a shoe sterilizer and water purifier. It will be open from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., and anyone can use it free of charge.
So what's the city hoping to achieve with all of this?
Busan City expects the facility to make it easier for runners to access the area, especially by connecting the space with public transportation. The city also plans to expand the concept with a second runner support space scheduled to open later this year at Gwanganli Beach, another popular running destination.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you for going over all the local news on this Monday morning. Wishing you, of course, a good break. And then, not spring break, a good break. And then, of course, we'll have you back on for hour number 2. Thank you, Jian.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to your traffic and weather. It's time for your traffic report. It's 7:18 on this Monday morning. There is a cargo truck that is broken down on Gwangan Bridge on the bottom portion going toward Haeundae. Also, there's congestion on the Dongso overpass from Hwangyong Ramp to Kaegum. Next up, it's busy on Taedong Hwamyeong Bridge on the top portion going toward the Anmak Ramp. And there's traffic building on Chungjang-daero from pier number 5 to pier number 3. Currently, it is 9 degrees here in Busan under clear skies. It's going to go up to 17 degrees Celsius. Across the nation, it seems spring is finally here, with a daytime high going up to, 21 degrees in Gwangju and Gumi. And so that means there's going to be a big temperature difference between morning and daytime high. Bad fine dust in the capital areas, Sejong and Chungnam. Also dry air in the capital area, Gangwon, Chungbuk, and Gyeongbuk. So please take extra caution, especially if you have to handle any type of fire. This was your traffic and weather. And this is Swim, one of the newest songs by BTS.
Swim, I could spend a lifetime watching you swim, swim. This is how it all begins. Swim, swim. I just wanna dive, I just wanna dive.
Bad world, gone away, I still wake up in this bad world. Name a place that I can breathe on this map world. Looking like a goody in this bad world. Bad world, don't know how to act, girl. I'm in the deep, tell me where the hell you at, girl. Oh, you ain't even gotta love me back, girl. You know that I'm never holding back, girl. Yeah.
So easy to make it so hard. Nights like these, I just wanna get lost. Right here with the moon and the stars. I ain't gotta think, but I think, baby, I just swim, swim. Wanna fall in love with your skin. Swim, swim. I could spend a lifetime watching you swim, swim. This is how it all begins. Swim, swim.
I just wanna dive, I just wanna dive.
Water so deep, water so deep. Take it off the ground, I ain't never getting cold feet. Yeah, you know me, yeah, you know me. Sitting on the shore, now I'm ready for the whole thing. I can feel the high waves coming. Why you run away, you can run it. Sound on my tongue, she's stunning. You're the only place that I wanna be, yeah. Swim, swim. Water falling off your skin. Swim, swim. I could spend a lifetime watching you swim, swim, swim. This is how it all begins. Swim, swim. I just wanna dive, I just wanna dive.
Splash, splash, rip, make waves with my two friends. Splash, rip, I just wanna take it across the line. Under here, we gon' chase the time. Baby, everything can be so sad. Through my face from the west. I just wanna dive, I just wanna dive. Swim, swim. Water falling off your skin. Swim, swim. I could spend a lifetime watching you
Swim, swim, swim. Let it all begin. Swim, swim. I just wanna dive, I just wanna dive.
It's time for our top stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, that track, everybody was talking about how, with the swag, that BTS, yes, that's actually their title track. So we wanted to be the first at BFM to play it because we're on at 7 in the morning.
We called dibs.
All right, so let's talk about our text topic though. Spring break.
Just the word makes me happy.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, when? There is, I don't know why, but there is this book stay. That's apparently a thing in Gyeongju that I want to go to. So it's basically just like not a hotel, but like a pension, a bed and breakfast, but has books, shelves and shelves of books all around, and all you're gonna do is read. So I'm like, I have my day planned. I'm gonna go on a morning run, come back, take a bath, and then eat some breakfast and just read. And I know you can say, Haley, but you can read anywhere and everywhere. But you know what? We can do anything, anywhere and everywhere, not just on vacation or spring break.
True.
And that's what I choose to do.
Yes.
Although, honestly, though, maybe I have 충곤증 spring fever because all I want to do is sleep. So realistically, I'm just going to be napping with the book over my face.
But you never know. I live vicariously through you and the singletons at the station. So I'm like, I just imagined you reading, and then you look up, and then
are my eyes meeting handsome strangers across the bookstore?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, that's what
Living vicariously through me too.
Yes, I am. Okay. Well, we got to get serious because we're going to talk about this tragedy, this massive fire at a factory in Daejeon.
Right. So 14 people have died and 60 injured from this huge fire at an auto parts factory in Daedeok-gu district in Daejeon.
Right.
So this fire broke out at 1:17 p.m. on Friday, engulfing this plant that had 170 people inside.
Sure.
The fire authorities almost immediately issued a level 1 response just 9 minutes after the 119 call came in and raised it to level 2 after just 14 minutes, along with the nation mobilization order. So the fire took about 10 hours and 30 minutes to be fully extinguished, but the authorities couldn't get in touch with 14 people at that time.
Right.
So at that point, it was search and rescue, with rescue workers and search dogs combing through the building after the fire was mostly extinguished, and they ultimately found the bodies of all 14 people, all dead, and that was 28 hours after the fire.
Right, and of course, like I said in the opening, first and foremost, our thoughts and prayers with the families affected. But what do we know about the cause of the fire thus far?
Right, so that'll of course have to be determined in full by the police, and they have formed a joint team, as you said. But they suspect that the fire started from the first floor, with smoke rapidly traveling up to the second and third floors.
Yes.
And they've launched an on-site inspection of the building and conducted the first initial inspection of the spot where the fire likely started.
Yes. And what could be the reason for such extensive casualties and damages? Because we're thinking, it happened in the middle of the day. But 14 people died.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So number one, the time is important, but that fire was massive. If you've looked at the footage, you see the flames entirely engulfing this 3-story building and even spreading to the next building that was connected via a sky bridge.
Sure.
So the fire started during lunchtime, which may account for the large number of casualties.
Right.
Because a lot of the workers were in the second floor lounge, with some sleeping ahead of their shift. The building also had over 100 kilograms of sodium, which in Korea we call natrium. The thing about sodium is that it reacts violently with water. So the firefighters couldn't use water to put out the fire lest it cause an explosion. Also, sodium, when it mixes with water, that can trigger the respiratory system and cause burning to the eye. And that's also why firefighters couldn't get inside quickly.
Yes.
On top of that, there was grease all over the building due to this being a car parts factory.
Right.
So that likely made the fire spread much faster.
Well, I hear that 9 of the deceased were found in one particular spot, and that's been drawing a lot of attention.
Right, and that's pointing to some potential problems within the building itself, because 9 people were found dead around the gym area, which wasn't on the building's blueprint, meaning this was added on later, likely without permission.
Okay.
The building had high ceilings because, again, it's a factory at 5.5 meters, and it apparently had this extra space, which the company seemingly turned into a gym. So reports raised questions as to whether this could have been a cause that led to such high casualties. So the CEO of the company, Son Joo-hwan, issued an apology yesterday via the company website, saying that it is prioritizing support for the injured and will take full responsibility to the families of the deceased.
Yes. So that's what we know thus far. I'm sure we'll have details that emerge later on. We'll report on that. And now let's talk about what's happening in the Middle East. As the Strait of Hormuz remains effectively closed, South Korea is also looking into possible crude oil shortages.
Right, because according to those in the industry, this oil tanker, the Eagle Velour, docked at Daesan Port in Seosan, Chungnam Province Friday afternoon. Why this is significant? It is actually the last ship that got out of the Strait of Hormuz before Iran closed it. Just in the nick of time, again, the very last oil tanker to do so.
Yes.
So Iran has shut down the strait, and the Eagle Velour carried in 2 million barrels of crude oil, equivalent to what the entire country uses up in a day.
Right. But the fact that the ship was the last one to pass through the strait before the shutdown also means that there aren't any more coming in. Is that what that means?
Right, exactly. So domestic oil refineries have nothing coming in starting April. So their option is to dip into the stockpile.
Okay.
So South Korea did secure some 24 million barrels of crude oil from the United Arab Emirates, or the UAE, but that is, of course, going to take some time. But if it does get here on schedule, it should last South Korea until the end of April without causing a crisis.
Okay.
And while the South Korean government with the International Energy Agency, the IEA, has decided to release 2.24 million barrels of reserve oil, this has to be done very carefully as a last resort measure because that's a one and done thing.
Yes.
So experts say that with the UAE oil and the reserve oil, this should last the country up to 25 days. And also on top of that, if the government does impose strong measures to manage demand, like the 5-day driving restriction we talked about last week, then it should last us until the end of April.
Okay. So now we got to talk about the price of oil.
We always do. So far, the government has kept a lid on the price of oil with the price cap system on gas and diesel. However, the Vice Energy Minister said that a price rise will be inevitable, and that could come as early as this Friday. So did you hear that? This Friday, meaning we probably have until then to maybe fuel up. So because according to Vice Minister Moon Sinak, this was during a radio interview, the fuel price cap 최고가격제 reflects international and market prices every 2 weeks. It was designed to be that way, so that 2-week period is coming at the end of this month.
Sure.
And he stated that the system works in such a way that all economic entities do have to share a burden, including consumers, and he asked for the public's understanding.
I see. So once again, keep your eyes out, I guess, for this Friday. All right, next, we're going to move on to a completely different story. This tragedy of a murder-suicide of an entire family that took place in Busan last week, which shines the light on potential welfare issues, right?
Right. So this is a tragedy, and we are going to be talking about this issue that may be triggering from some, so please be aware. Last Wednesday, a father in his 30s was found dead with 4 underage children, ages 7, 5, 3 years old, and 5 months, also dead in an apparent murder-suicide. Their funeral is happening right now. The police conducted an autopsy and concluded that they seem to have died from carbon monoxide poisoning. And there was also a note found on the scene expressing hardship about economic difficulties and childcare. So this man was apparently overdue on about 1 million won worth of health insurance and 2 months behind on rent, and the police will close this case.
But again, this also raises questions about whether he was maybe out of the loop of the social safety net.
Right. So after this death, it was confirmed that the local government did inform him about basic welfare, but he didn't sign up. So it seems that he qualified, but for some reason, he didn't do so.
Okay.
So regarding this, Health and Welfare Minister Jung Eun-kyung stated that she will take measures to implement a system where officials could use their authority to sign people up for basic welfare welfare, even without written consent for those who are impacted.
Well, be that as it may, we do have to talk about also the young lives lost from this parent's decision.
Right, because experts say that these murder-suicide cases, or more precisely, it's parents usually killing their children and then committing suicide.
Right.
Some people view this under kind of a sympathetic lens or a tragic decision by the parent. But according to experts, this is actually what should be classified as the most extreme case of child abuse. According to an analysis of Health and Welfare's Ministry's child abuse data, there have been 72 children who died from such cases between the years of 2019 and 2023.
Yes.
And that figure more than doubled in these 5 years. And an underlying reason, according to experts, is that parents thinking of their children as their possessions, something that they have to take care of. Also, society previously called these cases like dual suicide, which is not the case.
Yes.
It also speaks to the social miss or even distrust by the parents, thinking that after the parent's death, children won't be protected by society or by the system, thus leading to this decision.
Yes, such a tragedy once again. All right, we need some updates on the actual war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. What's going on?
Right, so President Donald Trump's position has changed yet again regarding the war with Iran, which is now going on to its fourth week. So on Friday local time, Trump said that he is not interested in a ceasefire, again reiterating that the U.S. has, quote, obliterated Iran. And then on social media that night, he stated that the U.S. is getting very close to meeting their objectives and they're considering winding down.
Oh, okay. But the Strait of Hormuz, that continues to be a sticking point.
Right. So on Friday, again, President Trump claimed that the U.S. has won from a military standpoint, but all Iran is doing is to block the strait, again, responsible for 20% of global crude oil.
Right.
And while the U.S. won't suffer an oil shortage, it is the biggest oil manufacturer in the world.
Right.
But it is seeing a rise in oil prices due to what's been happening. So President Trump said that the strait will have to be guarded and policed, but by other nations that use it, again, doubling down that the U.S. does not use the strait.
Right. So to that end, President Trump directly threatened Iran to open up the strait.
Right. So just a day after he made that winding down comment, President Trump actually gave Iran an ultimatum, warning Iran to open the strait within 48 hours.
Okay.
Otherwise, that the U.S. will obliterate Iran's power plants. So that gives Tehran until 3:14 a.m. on March 24th to open the strait.
Yes, but as this is going on, Israel and Iran have conducted attacks against each other's nuclear facilities.
Right, and this actually marks one of the most dramatic escalations of the war.
Yes.
Because the U.S. and Israel on Saturday attacked Iran's Natanz nuclear facility. This is one of Iran's most important uranium enrichment sites. And reports say Tehran has currently about 400 kilos of highly enriched uranium. State media reported that no radioactive material was released from Natanz and no danger to the population around the facility.
Yes.
But this was also the facility that was targeted by Israel last year during the 12-day war.
Yes, but Iran struck back.
Right, so Iran conducted missile strikes on the Israeli city of Dimona, which is home to Israel's main nuclear facility and also the nearby city of Arad. Iranian state television said that this was in response to the attack on Natanz. At least 127 people are said to be wounded from these two cities. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it a difficult evening for Israel and again promised to continue attacking Iran.
Yes.
But finally, to President Trump's ultimatum, Tehran said that it will destroy essential infrastructure in the Middle East, not just energy but water, should Trump retaliate. And Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian also said that the Strait of Hormuz is open to all except to violate Iranian soil.
I see. Well, of course, one of the top stories still will continue to follow. Thank you so much, and we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right, we are due for another song break, so how about this one by Adele, Easy on Me.
There ain't no gold in this river that I've been washing my hands in forever. I know there is hope
It is time for a profile check, and we have Vasana in the house.
Good morning.
I can't stop staring at your eye. I'm so sorry. For those of you who are not on our YouTube, let me explain. Okay, first of all, I did not hit Vasana. It was Vasana versus door.
That's what you say.
Vasana versus door.
Vasana versus a door.
And the door won?
Oh, I'm alive, so I guess I won.
That looks really painful, but thank you for coming in.
So close.
But yeah, at 3 in the morning. What were you doing at 3 in the morning?
Going to the bathroom like any 50-year-old does.
I was going to say, had you been sleeping, that would have not happened. But oh my gosh.
I was going to crack a Chuck Norris joke because, yes. R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
Right, rest in peace.
Chuck Norris, yes.
Yeah.
And if you know him, that means you're of a certain age. Right.
Who's he?
All right. Real quick. Text topic. Spring break. You have 1 week. What would you do?
What's spring break?
Like 1 week vacation.
We don't have those in New Zealand.
Okay. But I'm giving it to you now. So
1 week? When is spring break, really?
like right soon.
As in now or at the end of spring or the middle of spring? Or
Whenever. It depends on the school that you go to.
Okay. Korea, given the time off, I don't like traveling, so I'd just stay home.
Bangkok, okay.
Probably just go down to the local beach, Gwangan, and just relax every day.
Nice. That sounds really good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to dive into profile check. So who are we checking out?
Okay, we are taking a look at one person today.
One person.
I was almost going to change it to Chuck Norris, and then I realized not many people in Korea would know Chuck Norris.
Right.
So, Harry Styles.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles.
And so I asked you, maybe stupidly, why are we talking about him off air? But that was my question. Like, there's always a reason. So
yes, he has added another milestone to his long list of songs. And this one is a song that is debuting at number 1 on the Billboard 200. Or debuted at number 1.
Okay.
It's called Kiss All the Time, full stop. Disco, comma, occasionally, full stop.
That's the title of his album, right?
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, Kiss All the Time, disco, occasionally. 무슨 소리야?
Yeah. The punctuation mark's very important.
Oh, it is, with many things. So, yeah, with Harry Styles, at this point, it's starting to feel a lot less like news and just more like routine because he does this every few months.
Right.
But this one, debuting at number 1, that's pretty cool. So
are we surprised? Because, he carries, a certain weight.
Yeah.
There's a certain weight behind his name at this point, right?
Yes and no. We should be. I'm always surprised because I'm not a really big fan of his music.
So honest are we, but yes. Okay.
I like the songs, but I wouldn't go there and buy his album. But I like listening to his songs.
Yes.
But the reason why is because where he came from. And so this is why I thought we should do a deep dive.
So where's he from?
A profile check. So he's from a wee little town in Cheshire, England.
Okay.
Holmes Chapel in England. Do you know where that is?
No.
Me neither.
Okay.
It's a small, quiet village.
Am I supposed to? I'm sorry. I'm not well versed in every small town in England, but yes, you go.
Okay. It's the kind of place where if someone becomes world famous.
Yes.
People still remember them as, is that kid from down the road?
Okay, that kind of town.
Yeah, so in Busan, if somebody becomes famous, they go, okay. But they don't know who they are. But this town, everybody knew who he was.
Okay.
So this is where Harry Styles grew up. And I've got a couple of pictures, if we're able to put them up.
Okay.
So this is a picture of the bakery where he worked when he was there. And guess who that is?
Who? That's him?
That's him. In the bakery, they have a homage. They pay homage.
Yes.
Why don't you say homage? Why do Americans say homage?
I don't know.
Homage. Say the H. It's spelled there. Say it. Otherwise, leave it out. Anyway, I'm really grumpy this morning, aren't I?
Yes, apparently. The door won.
Yeah,
Yes.
so there he is. And the picture is still up today if you want to go visit, if there are any...
That's a very young
Harry
Styles.
Yep. And
Before the world, happened.
Before he was
lots of-
introduced to the world. So this is where he grew up. He was raised by his mother.
Okay.
Went to a local school, as you would have to go to a local school. That was a silly sentence. Anyway, worked part-time in that bakery. And became a global superstar. Which means technically he was making rolls before he was topping charts.
Right. And as Leslie points out, everybody knows because he was in One Direction, because he was part of this huge boy band.
Yes. I'll get to that in a second. But
Okay.
Actually, before we carry on,
Yes.
what was your first job?
I showed a photo of the uniform, not me in the uniform, but a uniform, and we don't have it in Korea. It was working at that hot dog stand in a ridiculous clown outfit,
A clown outfit?
Well, I call it a clown outfit because it was multicolored and it was really embarrassing, but they paid extra.
What was it, a male hanbok or something?
No. It was stripes.
We have to wear that Mickey Mouse hat.
Almost literally, that's to the extent of it, So,
were you good?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is there a reason why we're talking about?
Oh, no, because I sort of should have asked that before I talked about his job.
His part-time job. Okay.
Part-time job in the bakery. So as Leslie pointed out, thank you, Leslie, for saying that before I was going to talk about it. She wrote my script.
Spoiler. Yes.
2010 was when he auditioned. At 16 years old, he auditioned for the X Factor. So he went in as a solo artist.
Yes.
I watched it when it came on TV. I didn't think much of it. And not surprisingly, he didn't make it through. The other judges didn't think much of it either.
Okay.
So for most people who audition, most people who go on the X Factor, when you're given all those buzzers, all those red buzzers and the X's, that's it. Carry on with your life.
Okay.
But no, the judges saw other people who had auditioned by themselves.
Yes.
And thought, hey, hold on a minute. Let's put these 5 people together and put them into a band, turn them into a band. And they did. And as was pointed out before, directionless.
Oh my gosh, look how young they were.
Yes. Or rather, One Direction. So which one was Harry Styles?
Harry Styles, the one on the left.
Yeah, the far left. It's so different these days, his style.
Definitely.
There's a pun on his name. Literally, Styles. Okay, so they went on and competed as One Direction in the show, but they didn't win the show. But that's normal. Like many
but they won
winners.
the hearts of many people, apparently.
Yeah, many winners, many people who don't win.
Yes.
As Korea as well has shown.
Right.
Like Hogak, he didn't win and he went on.
Right. There's a bunch of artists that got second place or didn't win, but they went on to have really successful careers. And
Actually,
by the way,
I'm wrong.
Hogak did win.
Hogak did win. I forgot about that.
For example, like John Park did not win.
Yes, that's right.
There was Jessie didn't win the rap, whatever competition. She came in second place. But, went there
American
are many.
Idol as well. There's a lot that didn't win and has gone up to be better, bigger and better than the winner. But anyway, so what followed was something much bigger than a win. One global #1 albums. And fun fact, or rather not fun fact for Korean people, they have never performed here.
Oh, in Korea?
Yeah, they have never come here.
Okay.
They have done promotional tours, and where 1 or 2 members have come, but they
not as a whole group.
Not as a whole group to sing in a concert.
Well, they did disband, so
yes.
Right?
So yeah, they did.
In 2016?
Yes. Yeah. So if you were a fan back then, you had to travel or watch them through a screen, which let's be honest, most of us did that anyway. Not to anyway. So I've got another. Did you put the picture up already? So
yes.
Actually, I want to see if any of our listeners were 1D fans, as they were called, 1D. I'm glad they didn't have any other number there. One Direction. Or Directioners, as they were called. Like we just had BTS. What are their... Army.
Yes, their fan base.
It's pretty apt because they've just come out of the army too. So it's a double meaning. Probably means more now. Anyway, so Directioners, any of our listeners, are they 1D fans or Directioners fans? And do you have a song favorite from them?
I was not a huge follower of 1D.
Hey.
I admit, but I
You're
feel
a 2D person, I think.
No. They have definitely evolved as solo artists, and of
Yes,
course
they
one
have.
of them passed away as well.
Yep.
That was a tragedy. But overall, I feel like Harry Styles, he has evolved as an artist,
Yep.
kind of like a pop feel, and now different genres that he covers.
Yes. So from 2010 to 2016, they had a good time. But as you said, 2016 they disbanded. They went on their own direction.
On hiatus, yes.
In their own directions. And suddenly Harry was on his own.
Yes.
So as a solo artist, after being in a band, you have a couple of decisions to make. Do you just stop and then enjoy the money you've earned?
Right.
Or do you carry on because you love music?
That's always a conundrum, right?
Yeah. So obviously, he carried on. But instead of trying to recreate One Direction, he changed directions. I'm full of puns and you're not laughing at them this morning.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
His debut solo album leaned into rock influences, not hard rock, rock influences, slower songs, lots of guitar, very different sound.
Indeed.
And Fine Line was his album, and next album, then that brought in pop.
Yes.
And more emotional depth, not death, depth.
Depth, yes.
So yeah, he's won Grammys, he's won Album of the Year, etc., etc.
Yes, so he has actually gone on to have a very successful solo career.
Yes, he has.
And hence why we're covering him today, right?
Yes, another day, another year, another album, another number one. Even the title feels very Harry Styles, as I said, with all that punctuation.
Yes.
Little playful, little unclear. And I didn't put it here, but he's a very funny guy. He's been on SNL a couple of times.
Yes.
And just last week he was on SNL again. He knows how to perform.
He does. He's definitely a performer. So thank you for bringing us a profile check on Harry Styles.
Thank you.
And of course, we'll check in with you soon. So thank you, Vasana.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, this was Vasana with Profile Check. It's time to wrap up hour number 1. And then in hour number 2, we have our usual corners plus our special interview. This is Sign of the Times by Harry Styles. Enjoy. We'll be back at 8.
Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times. Welcome to the final show. I hope you're wearing your best clothes. You can't bribe the door on your way to the sky. You look pretty good down here, but you ain't really good. We never learned, we've been here before. Why are we always stuck and running from the bullets? The bullets. We never learned, we've been here before. Why are we always stuck and running from your bullets? A bullet. Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times. We gotta get away from here. We gotta get away from here. Just stop your crying, it'll be alright. They told me that the end is near. We gotta get away from here. Just stop your crying, have the time of your life. Breaking through the atmosphere, and things are pretty good from here. Remember, everything will be alright. We could meet again somewhere, somewhere far away from here. We never learned, we've been here before. Why are we always stuck and running from the bullets?
내정과 기후재난으로 대부분의 의료시설은 파괴되었고 의약품도 부족해 간단히 치료할 수 있는 질병으로 사망에 이르는 상황입니다. 바로 지금이 우리가 에티오피아에 진 빚을 갚을 때입니다. 지금 전화해주세요. 후원 문의 080-982-0119 국제구조위원회.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Welcome to Busan. Let me show you around. Here you can find the world's largest musical in-ground fountain and the world's only UN memorial cemetery. Stroll along the coast and explore the largest mountain fortress in Korea. As well as all this, there are so many tourist attractions, beautiful exhibitions, vibrant culture, convenient facilities, and delicious foods unique to Busan. With all the beauty and charm of the amazing city of Busan, you'll find yourself right at home in this ever-changing tourism paradise. So stay with us a while. Busan, your #1 tourist destination. Your home, away from home. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어방송.
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, everybody. It's 8 o'clock, and this is Spotlight News. President puts pressure on officials with multiple homes. President Lee Jae-myung said yesterday that he has instructed his office and the cabinet to exclude multi-homeowners from real estate policies as his administration cracks down on housing speculation. He wrote on social media that he has also called for the exclusion of owners of expensive homes who do not live in them and owners of excessive properties from the discussion, formulation, reporting, and approval of real estate policies. In his post, he said there is no reason to criticize multi-homeowners, but that the problem lies with public officials who devised tax, banking, and regulatory systems, making multiple home ownership favorable. Police and labor authorities investigate Daejeon plant fire. Daejeon police and the labor authorities have launched a full investigation into the car parts plant fire that killed 14 people, including the first on-site inspection scheduled for today. President Lee Jae-myung visited the site on Saturday, pledging a full investigation into the cause of the fire and vowed full support for the victims and their families. The fire at the local plant on Friday left 14 people dead and 60 others injured, including 2 firefighters. President taps BIS official Shin Hyun-song as BOK governor. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday nominated Shin Hyun-song, an official of the Bank for International Settlements (BIS), as a new governor of the Bank of Korea (BOK), as current governor Lee Chang-yong's term runs out in April. Shin is a leading expert on international finance and macroeconomics with an academic background, including professorships at Princeton University, the London School of Economics, and his alma mater, Oxford University. He also served at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and was an economic advisor to former President Lee Myung-bak. Supplementary budget expected to be passed on April 10th. The ruling Democratic Party, or DP, said yesterday it plans to pass a supplementary budget bill at a parliamentary plenary session next month in an attempt to cushion the impact of the Middle East crisis. The DP spokesperson said that the party will hold relevant standing committee meetings between April 2nd and 3rd, aimed to pass the bill at a National Assembly plenary session scheduled for the 10th. The budget will focus on easing the burden of high global oil prices through energy price support, assisting vulnerable groups affected by rising costs, and addressing difficulties faced by businesses, said lawmakers. Iran warns against Trump's threats to attack its energy infrastructure. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, said that Iran will completely shut the Strait of Hormuz if U.S. President Donald Trump proceeds with his threats to target Iranian energy facilities. Trump earlier gave Iran 48 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to shipping or face the destruction of its energy infrastructure. In the meantime, new strikes have been reported in Tehran, while Israel's emergency services reported casualties from Iranian missile strikes in the past 24 hours. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for a special interview on this Monday morning. U.S. President Donald Trump has been publicly pressuring its allies to help secure the Strait of Hormuz, a vital route for global energy supplies. In recent remarks, he called out countries like South Korea and urged them to send warships or military support. But the Korean government says it has not received any formal request from Washington, and Trump's comments are viewed as public pressure rather than an official demand. Seoul is being cautious, stressing that any deployment would require legal review and political consensus at home. So today we're going to take a look at how South Korea might or should navigate this situation and at what it means for the U.S.-Korea alliance as well. Joining us once again is Professor Sean O'Malley, Professor of International and Area Studies at the Minsa College of Liberal Arts at Dongseok University. Hi, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Catherine.
Yes, to begin, if you could explain the current situation in the Strait of Hormuz, how you see it, and how the U.S. and other countries have been deploying forces there so far?
Yeah, well, as many of your listeners probably already know, on February 28th, the United States and Israel attacked the state of Iran in what was deemed a preemptive attack in order to lessen Iran's nuclear capabilities, or what they allege were nuclear capabilities. And since then, the Strait of Hormuz has become a flashpoint because it is a very small passageway, a waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea off the east coast of Saudi Arabia and off the southern coast of Iran. And the Strait of Hormuz it's a very small waterway. It's only about 33 kilometers to 95 kilometers wide. The shipping lanes are only about 3 kilometers wide in either direction. And so it provides about 20% of the world's oil and liquid natural gas as far as passageway, and about 60% of South Korea and Japan's oil and natural gas come through that strait. So it's an extremely vital waterway for the energy supply chains around the world. And so far, the United States has tried to keep that passageway open, and the Iranian government and its military is trying to close that passageway to what the Iranian government says are its aggressors and their allies. So that's sort of where we stand at the moment as states scramble to try and figure out what the best approach might be to keep the strait as open as possible.
Indeed. And in that context, though, Professor, how should we understand President Trump's recent public posts and comments calling for, he name-checked several countries, including South Korea and other allies, to send warships. And then he kind of went back on it saying, no, it's okay. You don't have to send them. But it does seem like he was irked, right?
Yeah, this is, I think, the quixotic nature of President Trump and his diplomacy. He jumped onto social network and, in my view, shockingly included China in that list, trying to enlist China's help with the Straits of Hormuz crisis, as well as other states. And then, yes, as you say, he turned around and went back on that and said, we don't need your help, when states didn't immediately pledge to send forces to the area. There are states that are taking their own initiative. For example, India right now has between 6 and 9 vessels that are either in the region or being sent to the region to escort Indian vessels through the strait. Pakistan has also sent at least one ship to the area for escort duties of its commercial shipping. But so far, those are really the only states who have really committed to trying to help their own vessels get through the straits at this time.
Right. And the thing is this, as you already mentioned, Professor, South Korea getting a great deal of its energy sources, supplies from that area. So, the Korean government, though, says it hasn't received a formal request from Washington. But what does this really mean? Because I feel like it's always, South Korea, Seoul is always in a tough spot when it comes to these kind of, thorny international issues.
Well, this is really a tough spot for the South Korean government. And this sort of tactic or strategy of saying we haven't been formally requested is really a way of buying more time to decide what it is you might want to do. The fact of the matter is, many experts have pointed out that South Korea is in a bind under sort of security constraints. Currently, it has a vessel in the Gulf of Aden, and that is used for anti-piracy operations. It could sort of expand the scope of operations, but it would be very difficult for that expansion to include the Strait of Hormuz, which is on the other side of Saudi Arabia from the Gulf of Aden.
Right.
And as well, the Korean government doesn't really have any vessels that are sort of capable of the type of operations that would be necessary. I was talking yesterday to a friend of mine, a former Navy officer, and he was saying even if Korea managed to send a mining vessel, a counter mining vessel to Iran, these are basically literal warships, which means they need to stay fairly close to shore. They don't sail well on the blue waters of the open ocean. And even if it got to the Middle East, it doesn't really have the air conditioning systems on the ship to deal with the heat of the Middle East, which would make it operationally sort of unfit for the job. So there's a lot of different elements to this that the Korean government must consider from a military perspective as well as a political perspective.
Right, right. And so when we look at the other side, the potential risks or consequences for South Korea, to go basically against what Trump wants South Korea to do if it decides not to participate, what do you think are some of the potential risks?
That's really tough to say because of President Trump's nature of diplomacy. I have been thinking about what you get if you went along with Donald Trump. And, the Korean government just 10 days ago finally passed the $350 billion investment agreement that they made with Donald Trump. And for doing that, they got extra investigations, 301 investigations from the United States into South Korean trade practices. So it doesn't seem that a $350 billion investment really bought you any goodwill from the Trump administration. So I'm not sure that participating in operations in the Strait of Hormuz will buy you any sort of leeway in any other way with the Trump administration either. So I think the Korean government is well to take its time to make a decision. Ultimately, if it has to make a decision, I think warships in the area is not the most likely outcome for South Korea.
I see. And all eyes were on this summit between the U.S. President Donald Trump and the Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi recently to kind of gauge Trump's mood and the administration's, pressure and the response from Japan as well. So what did you see? What could you glean from that meetup?
I think Prime Minister Takaichi did a very good job of sort of riding the middle rail, if you will, and not making any more commitments than she could. Of course, Japan is highly constrained structurally by their pacifist constitution. And so there is a lot of legal ambiguity. If you send ships, for example, to the Straits of Hormuz, even as escort vessels, is that simply a defensive tactic? Or because you're helping escort vessels, have you freed up the United States for more aggressive military action?
I see.
And so this is the legal ambiguity Japan finds itself in. And therefore, it's very hard for them to make more commitments. And I might add, this is the same legal ambiguity that Korea would have, because after all, Korea's relationship with Iran is fairly good. And the only time it has been strained is when it's caught between the United States and Iran. So the South Korean government has really no interest in upsetting the Iranian government any more than it has to, because it does depend on Iranian oil long term.
Yes, indeed. And, finally, based on everything that we've talked about, I know this is going to be the toughest question, but what do you see as the most reasonable or balanced approach for South Korea to move forward?
If I was advising the South Korean government, I would say, first off, stall as long as possible. But if we must commit an engineering contingent to the United Arab Emirates and cloak it as helping our partner, the UAE, which has very close relations with South Korea.
Yes.
Cloak that as helping your partner reconstruct civilian infrastructure or energy infrastructure that has been hit by Iran. And that way you are sort of threading the needle of not being too helpful to the United States and not offending Iran, I would say, in the same way. But also you wind up doing something that is an action that the United States can see is about taking action.
Well, definitely between a rock and a hard place that Korea is right now. So thank you so much for breaking it down and giving us a real look at the situation South Korea is in right now. And of course, we'll continue to follow all the details of this story. But thanks for coming on with us, Professor. We appreciate your time once again.
All right. Thank you, Catherine.
Once again, everybody, this was Professor Sean O'Malley in terms of how South Korea should respond. Of course, that was his opinion. How South Korea will move forward, we're going to have to wait and see. This was your special interview. I'll be back with your updated traffic and weather.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your updated traffic update. Did I say update twice? Yes, I did. It's 8:17 and it's definitely a Monday. There's an accident on 중앙대로 from 범내골 to the 진시장 intersection. Right past the 범내골 intersection, there is an accident once again. It's congested on 번영로 from 금사 ramp to 수영 tunnel. It's backed up from 황령 tunnel to the 동서 overpass 진양 방음 tunnel. And it looks busy on 만덕대로 from 만덕 tunnel number 2 to Manduk intersection. So currently it is 12 degrees Celsius here in Busan, clear skies. The daytime high will go up to 17. So obviously spring is here with a daytime high going up to 21 degrees in Gwangju and Gumi. But there's still a big gap between the morning and daytime high. Bad fine dust in the capital area, plus Sejong and Chungnam, and also dry air in the capital area, Gangwon, Chungbuk, and Gyeongbuk. So please take extra precautions if you have to handle any type of fire. This was your traffic and weather. And this is 꽃송이가 by Busker Busker.
배드민턴 치자고 꼬셔 커피 한잔 하자고 불러 동네 한번 걷자고 꼬셔 넌 한 번도 그래 안 된다는 말이 없었지 꽃송이가 그래 피었네 꽃송이가 그 꽃 한 송이가 그래 피었구나 거리의 사람들 수많은 사람들 그 길의 사람들 그래 나는 내게 얼마만큼 특별한 건지 그게 어려운 거야 그게 어려운 거라 그게 어려운 거야 맛있는 거 먹자고 꼬셔 영화 보러 가자고 불러 단대 호수 걷자고 꼬셔 넌 한 번도 그래 안 된다는 말이 없었지 꽃송이가 그래 피었네 꽃송이가 그 꽃 한 송이가 그래 피었구나 거리의 사람들 수많은 사람들 그 길의 사람들 그래 나는 내게 얼마만큼 특별한 건지 그게 어려운 거야 그게 어려운 거라 그게 어려운 거야 좋아 하모니카 솔로 꽃송이가 그래 피었네 꽃송이가 그 꽃 한 송이가 그래 피었구나 거리의 사람들 수많은 사람들 그 길의 사람들 그래 나는 내게 얼마만큼 특별한 건지 그게 어려운 거야 그게 어려운 거라 그게 어려운 거야
It's time for Waggle Waggle Tea Time. Haley's back.
Hello.
Yes, it's so spring. I mean,
very spring.
Look at like the sunlight flooding into her studio.
Do you like my scratched out edit to the weather? Because it was 9 o'clock and I was like, 9 degrees Celsius. I'm like, nope, not anymore.
12.
It's 12.
Handwritten, I love it. And because we technically are in spring now.
We are. And then I
Yes.
woke up slightly early yesterday morning. Is that why I'm so tired?
Yes.
Because I want to go on a sunrise run and I missed the sunrise.
It was already up.
It was already up. I'm like, wait a minute, because usually it's like 6:30. It was at 6:25, so I missed it by 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm okay with it though.
Yes. The sun will forgive you. Speaking of the sun, summer. Let's talk about summer. And I don't know why, but let's find out. Summer seems a way off, but it is never too late to start preparing for... No, are we having extreme heat this summer?
Yeah. Yeah, if the last 2 years are any indicator, yes, because we've been having record-breaking summers for the last 2 years. 2024, back then, was the hottest summer on record in South Korea, only to have that number be broken the following year, 2025. So the heat is also known as the silent killer. And actually, experts say that in the past 10 years, the heat in the country has killed more people than any other natural disaster.
Really?
Right, because the second place, heavy rain, that was half the number of the deaths from heat.
Okay. So with this, the country is actually going to overhaul the heat wave warning system.
Right, and if you've seen the numbers, they have to, and this will be the first change in 18 years. So currently, 기상청, the Korea Meteorological Administration, or the KMA, has a 2-tier system, right? The heat wave advisory, that's 폭염주의보, that's when the highest real field temperature, 체감온도, is at least 33 degrees Celsius, and forecasts go on for at least 2 days.
Right.
Beyond that is the heat wave warning, 폭염경보, at the real field temperature of 35 degrees or more for 2 days. But then they're going to add on a top tier, serious or severe warning, 중대경보. That'll be set when the real field temperature goes at least or above 38 degrees Celsius for 1 day.
Okay, so 38, we don't even want to imagine. We're already sighing, but why set at 38 degrees?
Because apparently this is an important threshold for human health. And that's just a good information for all of us to know to really when to start being more careful.
Okay.
Because according to the KMA, the number of heat stroke and any heat-related illness patients, it spikes exponentially past that 38-degree threshold.
Okay. So what about at night, though?
And that's another pattern that we've been seeing with heat waves, because at least, during the nighttime, the heat used to cool off, right?
Yes.
However, that's been the pattern the past few years. We've been seeing more and more tropical nights.
Yes.
And actually starting this summer, the KMA will issue tropical night alerts for when the nighttime low doesn't fall below 25 degrees Celsius, and then adjust that to 26 degrees Celsius for urban areas, and then 27 for Jeju Island.
Okay.
Because again, the body's heat stress escalates when the heat persists during the nighttime, and that's why we've been seeing a lot more of these heat illness-related patients at nighttime too.
It does make sense. So now we know there's a top tier 38 degrees. That's the threshold. All right, we're going to move on to a different story. Sometimes we see reckless driver, those who seem to be driving way beyond the speed limit. And this is obviously dangerous for other drivers.
Right. Sometimes you're on an expressway and you're like going with the flow of the traffic.
Yes.
So maybe a little above the 100 kilometers per hour speed limit.
Just slightly, right?
Just slightly, because again, sometimes because the police, they do want you to go along with the traffic.
Right.
And then you see or feel this car zooming past you. And you're like, wait, if I'm going like hypothetically 115,
yes,
and you just zoomed past me, how fast are you going?
Yes.
Case number one. Also, cars going above the speed limit, slamming on their brakes in front of that speed camera,
Seriously?
only to accelerate again.
Right.
Speaking of those speed cameras, because South Korea, by law, they post the location of speed cameras via signs, and the navigation tells you. That's almost customary. Even when you're going like 56 on a 50, you slow down to 50 and then go back up to 56. But of course, speeding is a major cause of accidents, even fatal ones. And there are about 2,000 people who died from speeding-related car accidents every year.
Okay, so how prevalent is speeding in South Korea?
Very much so. According to the National Police Agency, the number of speeding cases averaged at about 8 million per year between 2014 and 2016. But that went over 10 million in 2017, then to 17.7 million by 2023. And according to one private insurance company data, 11.3% of these speeders are habitual. So a little over 1 in 10, meaning how habitual?
Yes.
15 times in the span of 5 years. 15.
And that's like
being caught.
Yeah. So what's the reason behind so many people speeding?
The low fine.
Yes.
And we've talked about this because we are both from the U.S. where I've definitely gotten speeding tickets that were just.
Oh, have you?
In the States?
I've never gotten.
Really? Oh, I was an idiot. I was 16 and 17.
I was good at.
You were good at.
Yeah.
And they were like in over $100, and this is like 20 years ago.
Right.
But and then when I came to South Korea and learned how much the speeding ticket was, I'm like, it's only 3만 원? 진짜?
Compared to.
Right. And,
yes.
But even for like non-expats, that's what a lot of people are feeling. Oh, well, it's only 3만 원. And that should never be the reason for us to speed.
Never.
But still, so under the road and traffic law, the fine is 3만 원, 30,000 won, if you are within 20 kilometers per hour of the speed limit. So 20 kilometers per hour above. 60,000 won if you go over the limit by 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. 90,000 won for 40 to 60 kilometers. And 120,000 won for over 60 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
But that figure has not changed within the last 30 years. Consider that. Inflation.
Right.
In the past 30 years. Also, the per capita GDP, that has more than tripled since 1995. But still, these fines are the same. So that 3만 원 was really a lot different perceptually between then and now. Let's compare that to other countries.
Sure.
Well, we talked about the U.S. So again, if you exceed the speed limit by, let's say, 50 kilometers per hour, that's 9만 원, right? 90,000 won in Korea. Do that in the States, that's going to cost you $490. With the currency being what it is, that's 73만 원, 730,000 won. Do that in Japan, 930,000 won. Do that in Australia, 1.38 million won.
근데 한국에서는 9만 원.
9만 원 versus 138만 원.
Oh my gosh.
And then what's more, in some countries, started with Finland. This is a trend across Northern Europe, Sweden, Denmark, even Switzerland. They have a scaling fine system. I think we talked about this. If you make more, you pay more. So millionaires are going to pay a lot more than the average Joe. That scaling fine system was brought up by President Lee Jae-myung when he was the mayor of Seongnam, again last December as well.
Okay.
The debate for this scaling system is clearly there, but some experts are in favor, at least implementing this in phases.
I see. Very interesting. All right. And now we're going to talk about something that happened over the weekend, the big BTS comeback concert in Gwanghwamun.
Right. So fun. Right? Safe and organized.
Yes.
Right. So according to Seoul City, a little over 40,000 people gathered in Gwanghwamun Saturday night for the BTS Arirang comeback concert. The first, full 7-member comeback since 2022. Right. BTS's agency Big Hit described the performance as a fusion of Korean traditional heritage and contemporary music set, to the backdrop of the huge Gwanghwamun Gate and as the centerpiece. Very cool optics, right? And also the agency noted that Arirang, the album itself, is intended to capture the identity of BTS as a group that began and has its roots in Korea.
Right.
So the 12-song set list, of course, had tracks from the new album, as well as some top fan favorites like Butter and Dynamite. And some of the members spoke candidly about their situation. They, of course, had to take a hiatus because of the military service. And J-Hope, for one, said that they were afraid that they might have been forgotten or slightly forgotten.
Sure.
And then they were really doing a deep dive into what they needed to do moving on, on to the future.
Sure.
The police did initially expect the concert to bring in some 260,000 people, including 22,000 ticket holders. But later, the authorities estimated 48,000 people were there, although HYBE, parent company of Big Hit, estimated the crowd at about 104,000.
Right. So it wasn't as crowded and bustling as they were expecting. But in my humble opinion, I thought that was a good thing. But anyhow, the police in Seoul City, they were really stringent about safety.
Right. So zero safety accidents, some minor incidents, though, in the true waggle fashion. And these are very light. You can relax. So a man was caught because there were metal detectors all around. He had a big knife. Turns out he's a chef. Because again, not everybody who went to the area were going to the concert.
Right.
It is Gwanghamun. It is at the heart of Seoul. Hotels, restaurants, offices everywhere. So he was just going to his job.
Yes.
The police also caught a woman who thought they thought she was in possession of a gas gun, 가스총, but that turned out to be pepper spray. So guests at various weddings and other venues, they had to present their invitations to get through because subways were not stopping at these stations. The police actually had to use the police bus to shuttle these guests.
That's right. So while we're glad that the concert took place without any major issues, that figure, though, once again, going by, police estimates 48,000. Big Hit said 104,000, but they were expecting, 260,000.
So that is a big undershot, right?
Yes.
And the issue is that Seoul City prepared for 260,000, and they did so by mobilizing over 15,000 public officials, police officers, and firefighters for safety.
Right.
Of course, we absolutely want to prioritize safety above all, but there's now also criticism of over mobilization. Number one, financial issue, because you have to pay these public workers who, had to be there on a weekend as they, as we should pay them.
Right.
But that's also going out of taxpayer money. So over mobilization, the inaccurate estimation could be an issue.
Okay.
And also the Union of Government Workers said that the problem is with mobilizing public servants for an event held by a private company because Big Hit is a private company.
True.
On top of that, ambulances were dispatched to be on standby from Seoul, but also Incheon, Gyeonggi, and Gangwon province. So there were concerns about gaps in safety in first response if there were larger scale emergency in those respective regions.
Right. So that's what happened over the weekend. And, they're going to do a postmortem and look through everything and see what they can do better, if they can change things. So we'll see. Now for a final story, students, they're usually given homework during spring break, hence the whole spring break text topic. But this Chinese university gave a very different assignment.
Your assignment for spring break, according to this school, smell the flowers and fall in love.
Let's sign up.
Wow. This is by the Shiswan Southwest Aviation Vocational College on its official social media account. So this is kind of a nationwide push. China said it's introducing spring and autumn holidays on top of the traditional summer and winter vacations, also encouraging some companies to give out paid leave outside of the peak season for travel. And accordingly, several provinces and cities have announced plans for spring break happening or slated to happen April/early May.
That's right. So what's the reason behind this?
Well, number one, any longer holiday, more spending, consumption, right? But also fall in love, hoping to raise the birth rate. There are some steps in between, though.
Okay.
The National Bureau of Statistics noted that in January, China's population declined by 7 million people between 2021 and 25, and the lowest birth rate ever at 6.4%. Which, and by our view, we're like, excuse me, you're actually seeing whole numbers. But of course, this being China.
Well, thank you for going over all the Woggly news, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
All right, go fall in love.
Yes. And with that, maybe this will help you. I don't know. 봄날 by BTS. Enjoy. We'll be back in a bit.
이렇게 말하니까 더 보고 싶다. 널 날 보고 있어도 보고 싶다 너무 약속한 시간 나는 우리 겁니다 이제 얼굴 한번 보는 것조차 힘들어진 우리가
저긴 온통 겨울뿐이야 8월에도 겨울이 와 마음은 시간에 달려가네 홀로 남은 설국 열차 네 손잡고 지구 반대편까지야 겨울을 끝내봐 그리움들이 얼마나 눈치를 내려야 그 봄날이 올까
거울 떠드는 작은 먼지처럼 작은 먼지처럼 날리는 눈이 나라면 조금 더 빨리 내게 닿을 수 있을 텐데 눈꽃이 떨어져요 또 조금씩 멀어져요 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 얼마나 기다려야 또 몇 밤을 더 세워야 널 보게 될까 날 보게 될까 만나게 될까 만나게 될까 숨겨온 끝을 지나 다시 봄날이 올 때까지 봄이 올 때까지 그곳에 좀 더 머물러서 네가 변한 건지 아니면 내가 변한 건지 이 순간 흐르는 시간조차 미워 우리가 변한 거지 뭐 모두가 그런 거지 뭐 그래 네가 네가 난 떠났지만 단 하루도 널 잊은 적이 없었지 나 솔직히 보고 싶은데 이만 너를 지울게 그게 널 원망하기보단 덜 아프니까 이날 풀어내본다 연기처럼 하얀 연기처럼 말로는 지운다 해도 사실 난 아직 날 보내지 못하는데 눈꽃이 떨어져요 또 조금씩 멀어져요 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 얼마나 기다려야 또 몇 밤을 더 세워야 널 보게 될까 널 보게 될까 만나게 될까 만나게 될까 You know it all You're my best friend 아침은 다시 올 거야 어떤 어둠도 어떤 계절도 영원할 순 없을 건지 비나 봐요 이 겨울도
It is time for News in Depth. We have Jian back in the studio. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Were you able to rest?
Yes, I had
A little break,
about an
right?
hour break.
Okay. Well, we're going to begin with, of course, what's happening in the Middle East. Iran has reportedly launched a long-range ballistic missile targeting a U.S. military base in the Indian Ocean. So let's go over what exactly happened.
Iran has reportedly fired 2 ballistic missiles toward the U.S.-UK joint military base on Diego Garcia Island in the Indian Ocean, marking a significant shift in its military posture. According to U.S. officials cited by the Wall Street Journal, the missiles were launched on March 20th local time, but failed to hit their intended target.
Yes.
One reportedly malfunctioned during flight, while the other was intercepted by U.S. air defense systems. What makes this incident particularly notable is the distance involved. Diego Garcia is located roughly 4,000 kilometers from Iran, far beyond the 2,000-kilometer range that Iran has previously claimed as its self-imposed limit.
Interesting. So basically, the range is much longer, almost double what we knew about. So what does this suggest about Iran's missile capabilities?
It suggests that Iran may already possess or is actively developing longer-range missile technology than it has publicly acknowledged.
Right.
Some analysts believe the missile used could be the Khorramshahr 4, a medium-range ballistic missile capable of carrying multiple warheads and weighing around 20 tons. Experts say this is the first confirmed case of Iran launching a missile with a range of up to 4,000 kilometers, raising concerns that parts of Western Europe could now fall within its potential strike range. Cities like London and Paris are being mentioned in this context.
I see. Well, Iran had previously said, once again, that it was limiting its missile range. So why does this launch matter politically, but also strategically?
For years, Iran has insisted that it was intentionally limiting its missile range to about 2,000 kilometers, arguing that this was sufficient to target its primary regional adversary, Israel. That policy was reportedly set by former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei back in 2017 and reaffirmed by officials as recently as last month. However, this launch appears to contradict those claims. It suggests that Iran may have continued developing longer-range capabilities behind the scenes, potentially as a strategic deterrent.
Yes. So do we know how Iran may have extended its missile range?
We don't know exactly, but there are a few possible explanations.
Okay.
One possibility is that Iran modified existing missiles by reducing payload weight or removing warheads to increase the range. Another is that it used technology derived from its space launch vehicle program.
Okay.
Some experts point to Iran's Seymour rocket, a satellite launch vehicle, noting that similar technology can be adapted for long-range ballistic missiles. While this may reduce accuracy, it significantly extends the range.
So, of course, we can only guess, but what kind of message might Iran be trying to send with this launch?
Analysts say this was likely a show of force aimed not only at the United States and Israel, but also at a broader international audience.
Yes.
By demonstrating the ability to strike targets far beyond the Middle East, Iran may be signaling that U.S. military bases outside the region are also within their reach. It also comes at a sensitive moment. The launch reportedly took place just hours before the UK formally approved U.S. use of the Diego Garcia Island base, which Iran had previously warned could make it a target.
Okay, so this time around, the missiles did not hit the target, but I'm sure that this still raises security concerns.
Yes, very much so. Even a failed attempt can provide valuable data for future improvements, and the mere demonstration of extended range is significant.
Right.
Western governments have long called for tighter monitoring of Iran's missile program, particularly due to concerns that such technology could eventually be paired with nuclear capabilities. This latest development is likely to intensify those concerns and add further tension to an already volatile regional situation.
That's right. So we'll see how this one plays out. For now, though, we're going to turn our attention to some domestic policy. President Lee Jae-myung has made a strong statement on housing policy, particularly regarding officials who own multiple properties. And yes, I know that we talked about this a little earlier, but we're going to take a deeper dive. So what did he say specifically?
President Lee Jae-myung announced that officials who own multiple homes or high-value properties will be excluded from the policy-making process related to housing and real estate. In a post shared on social media yesterday on March 22nd, he said he had instructed the presidential office and the cabinet to make sure that such individuals are not involved in discussions, drafting, reporting, or decision-making on real estate policies. He emphasized that reforming what he described as a real estate-driven economy is one of the most critical challenges facing the country, adding that even small loopholes in housing policy must be eliminated.
So some might be asking, is the president then criticizing people who own multiple homes?
Not exactly. The president made it clear he's not blaming people just for owning multiple homes or high-end properties. Instead, he pointed to policymakers and officials, saying the system itself made it more attractive to own more housing.
I see. So then why exclude these officials from the process?
So the concern is about conflict of interest and public trust. If high-ranking officials who own multiple homes are directly involved in shaping real estate policies, it it could raise questions about whose interests those policies really serve.
I see.
That's why President Lee said they should be excluded to prevent possible abuse and to build trust in the system.
I see. And how important is this issue for the administration?
The president described housing price stability as a defining issue for his administration, saying it could determine both the success of the government and the future of the country.
Yes.
He also framed it as a broader social issue, noting that stable housing is essential for starting families and building a normal life. He warned that allowing housing to become a tool for profit for a small group could leave many people without stable homes, and even asked the public for their views on the matter.
Yes, it is such a touchy subject, but thanks for covering in depth what we need to know. And now let's move on to our next topic. This is regarding the job market. Employment conditions for people in their late 20s seems to be getting worse. So tell us more about this.
Yes, employment conditions for people in their late 20s in Korea are becoming more difficult. As of February, the number of employed individuals aged 25 to 29 stood at around 2.35 million, down by about 62,000 compared to a year earlier. This is the lowest February level in 9 years. At the same time, the employment rate for this age group fell to 70.4%, the lowest level for the same month in 4 years, showing that the decline is not just about population changes, but also weakening job market conditions.
I see. Well, let's talk about the industries that are seeing the biggest impact from all of this.
The decline is especially clear in sectors young job seekers tend to prefer, such as information and communications and professional and technical services. In fact, jobs in the information and communication sector alone fell by more than 50,000 compared to a year earlier. That's the biggest drop since 2014. Professional and technical services also saw a drop of nearly 30,000 jobs, marking a second straight year of decline.
So do we know what's driving this trend, though?
A few factors are behind this. First, companies are increasingly favoring experienced workers who can start working immediately. So companies are hiring fewer entry-level workers.
Right.
As a result, many young people are taking longer to land their first job, and the starting point of their careers is being pushed into their early 30s. There are also growing concerns that AI may be affecting hiring in some professional fields, such as law, accounting, where demand for entry-level positions appears to be shrinking.
I see. And how is this reflected in the unemployment figures?
The data shows a clear rise in youth unemployment. The number of unemployed people in their late 20s rose to about 179,000 in February, an increase of 16,000 from a year earlier. More broadly, the expanded unemployment indicator for youth, which includes discouraged workers and those marginally attached to the labor force, reached 17.4%. That's the highest level for February in 3 years.
Right. And as we wrap up our discussion today, is the government taking action?
Yes, the government is closely monitoring the situation and is considering including youth employment support programs in an upcoming supplementary budget. However, the situation appears to be somewhat different for people in their 30s, where employment conditions are improving with both the number of employed and the employment rate rising.
I see. So it's different for this generation. But thank you for going over all the news in depth. And of course, we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Jian.
Thank you.
All right, Wavers, it is time to close out our Monday morning together. And I know sometimes it's a little difficult to get started, but hopefully we did it together. We're going to leave you with One Call Away. This is by Charlie Puth, wishing you a happy Monday. Bye, everybody.
Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. Call me, baby, if you need a friend. I just wanna give you love. Come on, come on, come on. Reaching out to you, so take a chance. No matter where you go, you know you're not alone. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. Come along with me and don't
set you free. Come on, come on, come on. You and me can make it anywhere. And for now, we can stay here for a while. Hey, 'cause you know, I just wanna see you smile. No matter where you go, you know you're not alone. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. And when you're weak, I'll be strong. I'm gonna keep holding on. Now don't you worry, it won't be long, darling. When you feel like hope is gone, just run into my arms. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to say